RTI.
That'll be Postcard from Poprad on RTI then. Yes, that'll be us. Now, I have to give you a slightly... What's the word I'm looking for? A slightly tongue-in-cheek statement, as I do. See, I told you Finn was here. If you go onto Facebook, you didn't believe that I was talking to him. Well, I was, you see, because now he's on Facebook having just finished his show. You see? You cynics. Anyway, whilst everybody accumulates on there so I can get to as many people as I humanly possibly can, because I will be serious in a moment. Again, hi to Finn. Great show, mate. Thank you. Hi to Philip, to Paolo. Oh, it's Paolo Kiska. Hello, Paolo. To Brian Shillantonian Brian. To John Clark. To the lovely Paul. I will say hello to the guys in a minute, but I've got something to do really important first. To Charles, to the lovely Joe Ibrahim, great friend, dear friend of mine, has just joined us all the way from Chorley. I don't know how he's got time to be on Facebook when he keeps all the expats tuned into British television everywhere. Funny that. But there you go. We also say hello to Hessa, to Ibrahim, to Mango, to Cartona, Christina. I wonder where Christina is. I'll have to have a look. And I am padding a bit because I do want to get this message to as many people as possible. Hello to Coulthard. Not Coulthard, but Coulthard. Hello, Rosaline. Mike W. You're not related to me, are you? Lucas in there, as is... how do you say that? Oh, Dexter. I can't do the one before it because it's just very Arabian and I can't kind of get the lingo right. David's there as well, as many others are. This weekend, it's time to remember the fact that we can only be stupid idiots on the radio, although we do try to bring you serious news, and we will bring you serious news that many other people don't for some reason. I think they're too scared these days. But we can mess about on the radio. Oh, hi, Hessa. Hello, Hessa. We can muck about on the radio because so many people have paid the ultimate price to give us that opportunity. Before we start the show this week, I'd just like with all of these celebrities, and I do mean celebrities, who are joining with us to say thank you. And please, do listen very carefully.
We all have so much to thank the First World War generation for.
The sacrifices made by the people who served on the front line.
The Commonwealth nations who stood by Britain's side.
The life-saving advances made by our medics.
The enormous strides made in women's rights, brought about by the incredible women of the time.
Innovations which have become commonplace today, like the widespread wearing of wristwatches.
The use of wireless technology which led to the rise of the modern radio.
Pioneering the way we use parachutes.
And the major developments in prosthetic limbs that continue to help people 100 years later.
To the armed forces in the First World War generation, who served, sacrificed, and changed our world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.
Difficult for somebody like me to follow that. Gets you right in the throat, actually, very seriously. Hi to Jan and to Charles. I love you too, Charles. Hi to Renta, who's there. And Ferro has just joined us as well. So many others. Jack, hi Jack, there as well. Please remember on Sunday, and I'm going to put it this way, if you're in any way, shape or form offended by the remembrance at 11 o'clock of the 11th day of the 11th month on Sunday, don't listen to us. Go and listen to a disrespectful radio station. Honestly, just go and listen to a disrespectful radio station. They'll be doing nothing, but we will remember all of those wonderful people that allowed us to mess about on the radio. And with that, I know so many of them wouldn't want us to be sad and down. We're going to carry on as usual, because we are. Only it's Mr. Banks in a car.
Hello, yeah, I'm in a car. We've not done this for years, have we? Here I am, sitting outside a hotel that said I could do the show from their restaurant because I don't know why it's lunchtime, innit? Why could I do it from their restaurant? But they've got rubbish internet, and that's the Waterfront Hotel in a little place.
Don't be nasty.
What? I mean, the Waterfront Hotel
is lovely.
The Waterfront Hotel
is lovely.
Big House. Big House.
They're lovely because if you think about it, you're sitting in a car. No, you're sitting in the car, using the Wi-Fi in the hotel to talk.
No, I'm using my own.
Oh.
I'm wired for sound.
Are you using your mobile internet?
Does that mean I'll have no thing left at the end of it?
Yeah.
Am I using this or what?
You can use mine.
Andrea says I can use hers.
All right then. Andrea sounds much clearer than you.
All right, talk to her then.
I think it just sounds. She sounds better. But anyway, all I've got to say is, you think of the wonderful thing that's happening. That at the moment you're talking to somebody 2,000 kilometres away on a little thing that fits in your pocket into a studio, which is in turn going around the world, which is in turn going to Melbourne, Australia, so you can say hello, RACH.
Through the Wi-Fi at the Waterfront Hotel in Brighouse.
Right. But you didn't say hello, Rach.
Oh no, Rach. Sorry, darling. I'm all at sixes and sevens.
I know. Hello, Uncle Lee.
And when she got her serious bit, when we talked about that, I need to tell you about that naughty Facebook.
Oh, we'll do that in a bit. We've got some serious bits. We got some serious bits. No, we don't. Hi to Dave, who's just joined us. He's got a message for everybody coming up later. And once again, I know it's centenary year, and I know there's lots of people jumping on bandwagons and joining in everything. But please do, if you have a chance this Sunday at 11 o'clock GMT, just hold off what you're doing for a couple of minutes and just say thank you to all those wonderful people. But first of all, we've got to go to Melbourne itself. Rach, breaking news.
Yeah, bad taste in my mouth with this story, so close to home. Terrorist attack in Melbourne this afternoon. Lone wolf terrorist attack, I must say. It wasn't a gang of anybody. A gentleman decided, should I call him a gentleman? He decided that it would be a pretty interesting thing to do in the middle of the CBD on a Friday afternoon to drive a utility. We call them utes here in Australia. A utility into the middle of a street that was, it's basically for trams. There are no cars down there, just pedestrians. Run that truck in the middle into the middle of that road, and then apparently set it on fire with gas cylinders and so forth. Police were called because somebody saw a car on fire, and when the police arrived, he just went on a nutter's rampage with a knife, stabbed a guy who has sadly died, and injured a whole bunch of other people, including police. He was, gotta love the Australian spirit, you really do. Bystanders were trying to subdue him with things like shopping trolleys and traffic cones and chairs from restaurants. Genius, really. I mean, we don't carry guns in Australia, so you just got to hit him with whatever you got.
Yeah.
But he was eventually shot. It's so funny. Apparently, a few of the witnesses whose statements I've been reading said that the police were trying to subdue him with batons, and people were screaming at the police, "Shoot him! Shoot him! Shoot him!" And I thought, wow, that's a really, really extreme response for Australia. It's a huge, very extreme. But they did shoot him in the end, and he was then taken to hospital under police guard and has subsequently died. But the thing about this guy is that he was on the radar of Victoria Police, knew him very well, and our intelligence officers knew who he was too. So it's just
and can I just ask, Rach, is it all settled down now?
Yeah, it's fine now. I mean, I think they've still, cordoned off a portion of the city, and it's very disruptive to, motorists and people who want to catch a tram anywhere, etc. But police have to carry out their investigation, and we got to let them do what they got to do. I mean, I suppose in a way it's better that it sort of happened at the time of day that it did, because there wasn't a lot of. It was 4:00, so there wasn't a lot of people out of work yet. They weren't leaving their businesses yet, so they were still inside, which was good. And by that stage of the day, people are either still shopping or still working or still doing whatever they're doing. And so there wasn't a huge lot of traffic, but still very scary. In a place like Melbourne, it's particularly scary. The last time we saw anything remotely like this, it wasn't a terror attack, but it was when that gentleman lost his mind on all sorts of drugs and God knows what, and killed a lot of people with a vehicle in the exact same street.
Okay,
so,
I'm pleased it's sorted out. We're going to thank you for that, Rach. I'm going to say hello to some more people because we've been, unlike normal, very rude to most people who joined us from the beginning. Say hi to Hessa, to Dexit, to Kim. Blimey. Kim's actually in Baghdad. Oh, hello, Kim. I think you're new to us. To Torzant, to Alicia and Alan. Steve
Alicia?
Alicia.
Is she in Spain?
I have no idea. She doesn't tell me. Alicia, where are you?
Where are you, Alicia?
Hi to Alan. Steve Marshall says, afternoon, Munchkin.
Afternoon, Stevie.
And Uncle Eric. Right. Yeah, do you know how old Steve is? Dave Hills is there, as is Simon and Noreen. We've got Angie Minutes there as well. Angie's a biker girl. She likes her bikes. And Mike Quinn is there as well. And more, because my mouse has just gone diddly down and loads more to do. Staying in Australia, as we are, an unknown Australian soldier's been buried in Belgium. Rach, the story.
Yeah, it was really lovely. It was there were two who haven't been identified Australian soldiers who were buried alongside a British guy, a British soldier, a Lancashire Fusiliers. Is that right? I always pronounce that wrong.
That's absolutely right. Well done.
Oh, yeah. They were found a couple of years ago. Their remains were found a couple of years ago during construction works. There's been forensic testing and so forth, but they still haven't identified them. But they were able to tell who they were by various pieces on their uniforms. So Australia, the Anzacs have a rising sun emblem on their uniform, and you know, you guys have what you guys have. So I mean, everybody knows the symbol for each armed forces regiment, etc. So they found those, and then they were able to actually bury them, and they gave them the full military burial, which was really nice. And it's just so nice that it happened now and at this time of the year. It was just really special that it happened that way.
And known by us lot as the full military honours.
There you go. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome indeed. Hi to Lubitska, who's joined us as well. Do we then? Kitty O'Neill. Now, I didn't know about this lady. She was the stunt double for Linda Carter. So I wasn't really in love with Linda Carter. I was in love with Kitty O'Neill.
Oh, I was in love with Linda Carter.
Stop it! Stop it! Don't go there!
She was a cool role model for, you know, when I was growing up. She was cool. Same with the Bionic Woman.
Ah. But hang on, she was Linda Wagner in Bionic Woman, and she was also in Smokey and the Bandit.
Lindsay Wagner was in the Bionic Woman, and she was beautiful, and so was Linda Carter, and I used to watch those two shows and think that I could do anything.
So what was her role in Smokey and the Bandit then?
I don't know.
That's weird. Where's Lee?
I don't know.
He's disappeared.
They're trying to ring me from Andrea's Skype.
It won't work.
No, I can't hold and...
No, it won't work.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Anyway, might be able to, with a bit of tech. No, we'll carry on. Anyway, no, I don't remember what she did in Smokey and the Bandit, but never mind. And, of course, the Blues Brothers. Oh.
Huh?
The Blues Brothers.
Who, Lindsay Wagner or...
Kitty O'Neill.
Oh, blimey, neither, so neither.
Oh, no, they're the best. One of they're good movies.
Well, would she not have been Sally Fields on body double in or
she could
double in?
No, the assets would have been the wrong size.
It's easy enough to hide them.
Well, that's true, or make them bigger.
Yeah,
she could have been bigger. Is Lee back?
Could have been. I don't know.
Well, his picture's there. Maybe he is. Lord... His
picture's always there.
Oh, no.
Haunting.
He's haunting, yeah. Lord Skelmersdale, the horticulturalist and naturalist, who was a junior minister in the 1980s, opened the UK's first tunnel for lovesick toads.
What?
Love sick. You've got those.
What?
In Australia, you've got those places where animals can cross the road without getting splattered.
That's true. We have koala signs up. We have ducks, wombats, all sorts. But do you know what I always want to know?
What?
How do the animals know to cross at that particular point?
I don't... Do you know, that is so weird. Because it's like the other day, I came out of home, and of course, you know when you've been at home for a very long time, you get used to the road. Now,
Yes.
as we know, both you and I have moved recently, so we're still kind of acclimatising. And as I come out, it always hits me that there's a pedestrian crossing about 10 metres away from the junction to the estate where we live. And as I come out, there's a dog sitting there.
It's amazing.
It was just sitting there, and then I kind of thought, well, I should stop really because there's a lot of cars. So I stopped. The car stopped coming the other way. The dog gets up and walks across the crossing.
That's good. You got to love it though, really. Sometimes you can't get kids to do that.
I know. Did we then, Gabriella? Lee's on the Facebook group, which is a bit odd because he's not on the chat thing. We'll get him somewhere or other in a minute. But no, it's very weird how you're quite right. Animals find the way. So good on Lord Skelmersdale.
Good on him.
Good on you, mate. That was nearly a good impression, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It's your fault.
All you've got to do is learn how to say Melbourne properly, and we're right.
Melbourne.
There you go.
I've done it.
You did it.
You're influencing me.
You did it. Because you usually say Melbourne, and that's actually not correct.
Well, no, because you see, my great uncle was the station master in Cambridgeshire at Melbourne.
Oh.
And that's why my brain keeps going in the wrong places.
But you said it perfectly before.
Melbourne.
There you go.
Good on you, mate.
Uncle Eric gets the big star of the day. Uncle Eric won the radio.
Was just listed as a stunt performer. Oh, thanks, Dave. Apparently, Kitty O'Neill was just listed as a stunt performer on Smokey and the Bandit 2, as opposed to being a full-blown actress. Hello to the lovely Sonia. And Lee says, yoo-hoo, I'm here. That's not a lot of good if you're on Facebook when you're not on Skype. Because if you're not on...
Uncle Lee.
Come on, Lee, get your blinking act together. And somebody keeps pinging my phone. Who's that? Oh, it's
probably Uncle Lee giving us a weird message.
No, actually, this is a message from the legendary Emperor Roscoe, saying, flash, 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 I'm shooting pictures for you.
What?
I have no idea. I think
he's cool, but he's a weirdo.
He's cool. He's so uber cool. Tony Joe White, who I know is a star in his own right, whose songs were covered by... Can you read the next name out, please?
Songs were covered by... No, why do I have to do it?
You have to do it. I can't do it.
Somebody called Elves Pursley.
So, that's it, Mr. Pursley. That's the one. Yeah. Mr. Pursley. I like that. I'm going to keep that
Pursley.
one. Mr. Pursley.
Sir
Rod Stewart.
Sir Rod and the wonderful, magnificent Tina Turner.
Absolutely, Tina Turner, simply the best. But Tony Joe White was a great composer of all sorts of stuff, but he didn't have a lot of stuff that was his, labelled as him.
He wrote for others, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Poke Salad Annie was one of the big singles, but and I suppose Rainy Night in Georgia as well. That's quite a big one, but that was Brooke Benton.
It was. Yeah, he did it first, but and then Mr. Pursley did it because he couldn't do any of his own stuff because he had absolutely no imagination.
That's right, Charles. I don't understand, Charles, but people are liking this, and I don't understand why. Perhaps I'm being thick. Donald Derrick, Sweeting Hill. Does that mean anything to you?
No, should it?
I don't know. Lee's joined on Skype.
I apologise.
Lee.
What?
You're back.
Oh my God, where have you been?
I've just been playing on Facebook, but you kept ignoring me, so I've come back.
We weren't ignoring you. We were saying, get back on Skype, you silly, silly man.
Yes.
I just thought I'd go and join the hoi polloi.
Well, I'm sorry, the show's over. I don't know what's happened to your watch, Lee, but the show's over now.
Oh, all right. Well, it's been really good. I've really enjoyed it. I'll speak to you next week.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. 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 Very seriously, especially this weekend, and I can't believe this. I don't know how these guys can live with themselves. A son has blasted callous robbers who left a World War II veteran, that's his father, fighting for his life after brutal beating by some thugs for £20. No, a £20 TV.
That's what's happening in Britain all the time, isn't it? One of the main ways of now committing a crime is to find somebody on eBay or that other one where you sell things, I can't remember its name, and pretend to go and buy something, go to the house and rob them. But what's happening? People are using knives and all sorts of weapons. There was a story came out yesterday. It's an old story, but it was something that was brought up where a bloke was selling his computer, his laptop. Two blokes came round. They beat him up. They threatened to rape his wife. And what they actually cost him, they took all his life savings, which for some reason were in his house, and he's lost his life savings, he's lost his job, and he's lost his relationship with his wife. And these people are doing it for 20 quid, like you say.
They're shockers. They really are. I mean, nowhere near as bad at this. Apparently, Donald Derrick is from Sweeting Hill, and he's watching us.
Oh, yeah. Hello.
What a nice man that is.
I'm watching you too, Derek.
Yeah, we're in there. It's like this morning, Lee. I'm sitting there minding my own business. My office phone goes, the one that we affectionately call the bat phone, and it's this girl. And I could hardly understand her. I figured out after a while she was Spanish, and then I said, "No, look, And you know this. I have a passion for killing off Bitcoin. I think it's a joke.
Bitcoin, yeah.
I think it's shocking. When it crashes completely, millions of people are going to lose loads of money. And because it's not a traded currency, a real one. So I said, excuse me. That's better.
Did you say that?
No, I didn't. I hit my cough button. Well, I didn't. I slid it up and down. Anyway, so I said to said girl, you do realise who you're calling, because she called me Mr. Eric when she phoned. And I said, you know I'm a broadcaster, and very shortly I'm going on the radio. I've got a show to do. And she just, you could almost visualise her dropping the phone. And the next second you get, hello, I'm the supervisor, can I help you? Yes. So I said, not really right at the moment. I've got 18 minutes before the show. I've got to go. You're talking about bitcoins that I think should be banned in the world. And he said, but you're obviously very interested in them. I said, all right, look, tell you what, and don't tell them if you're there. I'm going to record the call when they call back, if they call back. In an hour and 10 minutes' time, they claim they'll call me back. And am I going to have some fun with these people?
Well, it's worth it, but why are you so against Bitcoin? You know, it's palpably obvious that the fiscal base of our world income and economy is failing dramatically. Why don't we look at different forms of fiscal enjoyment?
Yeah, I get that.
Because it was invented as a device to funnel criminal money.
Yeah,
and I don't want to
games.
It was invented by criminals, Uncle Lee. Come on,
come on, Lee. We all know it can be.
Don't you watch The Blacklist? Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, and you can also trace it back to North Korea.
But I don't want anything to do with criminal activity. I don't want anything to do with...
Well, they got a career in finance.
In Bitcoin, yeah.
There's no criminals
Tell me horrible about Bitcoin.
Sorry?
I'll give you my cash any
You
day.
can buy bitcoins in a machine in hotel lobbies and in pubs.
I know. If you're going to buy them just for a fun token, I ain't got a problem with it. If you're being sold them as a currency by people cold calling you, I have a problem with that.
Now that's different. I agree with you. Yes.
And they are cold calling you. Hello to Barbara. I haven't said hello to you.
Has Alicia replied? I want to know if it's Alicia from Sarah the Echo.
No, I mean, Donald's said hello, because he goes...
Oh, all right, no.
Donald said hello.
He's watching us, you know.
Yeah, I am. Good, mate. Nicola's joined us as well, which is kind of cool. No, I just get a bit cross. No, she hasn't answered you, Lee.
Yeah, but she's very rude then.
Oh, don't start that.
What?
Sounding like Donald Trump.
You're very rude, man. You're a terrible person, yes. Wasn't that outrageous?
Oh, I couldn't believe it, what I was witnessing, and now this poor
It was
guy,
brilliant! It was so funny!
This poor CNN reporter has had his White House credentials stripped off him, and now they're charging with touching this woman. And if you look at the footage, she ran up and snatched this microphone off her. She went at him full force. All he was doing was sort of backing away from her, and her arm bumped into his, and now he's lost his credentials.
Just away.
But it was just so funny. I was absolutely laughing. I thought it was the best comedy I've seen all year.
Robbie was furious. Robbie went on a rant.
Did he?
Don't feel sorry for that journalist, because that has made that journalist's career.
Absolutely.
Of course, but, I mean, you know, at the time I thought to myself, you can't strip a man's credentials. But then I thought, hang on a minute, who are we dealing with here? Of course they can strip his credentials. They've done worse.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, at least not shot him. I have an alarm clock that does that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have done similar to a journalist in the past.
Say that again, Eric.
I have done similar to a journalist in the past.
On what to a journalist in the past?
Well, she started going on, didn't get the answer she wanted, started going on again, so we dropped the fader on her in a studio in London. 5 minutes later, she was still ranting on. We put the fader up and went, "Are you still there?" And she went, "See it." Put the fader down again. And the regular audience were absolutely in stitches. They were laughing. And they were laughing at her because she just kept ranting.
If the journalist is being a pompous arse, then that's right. Well, that journalist wasn't being a pompous arse. He was asking a straightforward question and expected the president to answer him, because he was one of the elites who were there and given the right to ask the president questions. And instead he got told he was a terrible, terrible man.
And I just thought it was hysterical. It was brilliant. I was cracked up. I really was.
Super upset about you can't get super upset about it, because it's Trump being Trump, and we know how this goes all the time. And he's got a fortress of censorship all around him.
Of course.
And as soon as he gets something that makes him a little bit uncomfortable or tongue-tied, he just attacks because he's a petulant child.
Well, exactly. And the league hit the nail on the head. That journalist will never struggle for work anymore.
No.
He's been made a hero. Yeah. Trump's got more publicity out of this than he'd have ever got by letting him carry on. And the whole thing, I mean, his whole speech, Trump's speech, was hysterical.
Great victory for the Republicans. I'm thinking, really?
The sad thing is that, like, we're all laughing at Trump, but he has the power to end this world.
Yeah, so does
I
Putin.
don't reckon he would even remember.
Go on, put it in as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's it. Look at it, we forgot.
Right,
put it in and.
Yeah, hold on a minute. Say quickly. Hello to Chris. Dobrý den, moja Jan Tribola. Ako se máš, Jan? No, really? Okay. Donald Derek. I'm corrected here. He's not from Sweeting.
He's laughing at put it in and Trump.
Yes. Donald Derrick is not from Sweeting Hill. It's a hyphenated surname, which is Sweeting Hill.
Oh, cool.
Okay, which is cool. And Donald says, these fake... Oh, God, now look what you're going to do to him. These fake news reporters are out of hand and nearly as bad as the liberal lefties. Oh,
Oh, stop, Donald. Are you aware of the show that you tapped into? Come on now.
Donald, let's be quackers.
Oh, I told you he'd have a go, Donald. You see? We know him, mate. We've had to put up with him for years.
You'll have to look at all the comments.
And the only reason we do it normally is just to allow Andrea an hour off a week. And this week he strapped her in the car.
She's sitting next to me laughing at that rude thing I said by accident.
I know. Hello to Steve as well. We're going to take a quick break, and I want you to listen to this really seriously. It is our thank you that we've put together for those wonderful people from several world wars, and also I'd like to include in this the people in 1989 who did what is colloquially known as the Velvet Revolution, which it isn't really. It was the Quiet Revolution is how it started and got transposed a bit, who effectively killed off in most areas of the world, not everywhere, who killed off in most parts of Europe the unbelievably despicable communist regime that was there as well. They were fighting for freedom, and in 1989 they won. In 1944 the Allied troops won, and they also won in 1918, which became the start of Czechoslovakia, and then morphed into Slovakia, where I'm sitting today. So if it wasn't for those three groups of wonderful people, I wouldn't be sitting here mucking about every week.
Can I just say very quickly about on that subject, quite seriously, go to the consumerwatchfoundation.com and you'll find a series of stories that explain exactly what happened in that period and how brave they were. There is even a piece by the railway DJ, Jan Sestek, where he talks about his life there. Interesting. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you weren't. No, you're absolutely right, because those people who were there and living it can tell the best stories. You're absolutely right. We'll be back in a minute, boys and girls. Don't go away.
We all have so much to thank the First World War generation for.
The sacrifices made by the people who served on the front line.
The Commonwealth nations who stood by Britain's side.
The life-saving advances made by our medics.
The enormous strides made in women's rights, brought about by the incredible women of the time.
Innovations which have become commonplace today, like the widespread wearing of wristwatches.
The use of wireless technology which led to the rise of the modern radio.
Pioneering the way, we use parachutes.
And the major developments in prosthetic limbs that continue to help people 100 years later.
To the armed forces in the First World War generation, who served, sacrificed, and changed our world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Station of the Stars. RTI.
Mr. Attitude, Eric Wiltshire.
Welcome back to part 2 of Postcard from Poprad with Lee, Rach and myself. Donald's very... his keyboard must be red hot today. I know what he's doing. He's taking over from Steve, who's normally here, who did send a note, Lee, and Rach.
Did he?
He did send a note to say that
why is he not here?
He's been held up in work, and therefore he couldn't be here today. But he did send a teacher's note from Mum to say that he wouldn't be here, but he will be listening later.
Okay.
So
cool.
Hi, Steve. What's ruffled Donald's feathers?
This is very Pals. Oh, pals! I get it. Sorry, Donald. We're friends now. As a former Conservative chairman in my local area of the UK,
Where's that?
I don't know yet. I'm getting there. I haven't read it all yet. I believe in a lot of.
Stop asking questions.
I'm going to take your press pass away if you don't behave.
Look, if you two don't stop bickering, I will turn this car around and nobody will get ice cream.
I believe in a lot of things. The Donald is trying to do in America that which we should have done in this country, and we probably wouldn't have had Brexit. Oh, I get your logic, Donald.
What logic?
I get your logic. Yeah, it makes sense to me. What Trump's saying? No. Trump is saying, be part of the world, but be more nationalistic at the same time. So sort of come across the two sides. I get that, and the same is happening. He thinks in Europe. Now, Donald, what I will say to you is, and I had this discussion earlier with somebody, I'm one of those oddball characters that has one foot in the west of Europe and the other foot in the east of Europe. I've got long legs. And I'm
that same person.
I know. And the truth is, the UK has got the most misrepresented news about Europe you could ever wish to have. That is the biggest problem. And the trouble
That's only because of what the rest of Europe presents.
No. It's because the European news is not represented the way it really is in the UK. And I've been arguing this point for right the way back when the first vote was taken, that people were going, this is going to stop free movement of people around the EU. No, Brexit won't. Because he's never been there.
Exactly. Well, that's not a misrepresentation of the press covering Europe.
Of course it is, because they say.
I think you're being so naive, and I'm really surprised because you're not usually naive.
I'm not. I've written.
People are presenting what is the concerns of the day.
No,
that's what.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. They are saying if you leave the European Union, you will lose your free movement around the European Union.
That's only one aspect of it. But the other aspects are being covered as well.
But
you're picking on one aspect.
It's fake.
It isn't fake at all.
It is.
It's a concern that people had and was voiced in the press, in the free press of the world, that voiced a concern of a certain section of people.
There is no free movement of people across the EU. It is fake news.
Well, it isn't fake news. You don't need your passports. And all the people are saying is that you might need your passports. They might put borders up again. Nobody really knows. Therefore, it isn't fake news. It's speculation based on what public opinion was saying at that moment.
Right, I don't wish to be rude, because I'm not. And
Maybe we should take that short break we were going to take 10 minutes ago.
This is true. I need for Lee to be really honest about his age.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, I know. So, no, hang on. Let me change this. Lee's sixth cousin removed uncle, who is 65 years old, decides he wants to go and live in Hungary. Right? He can't.
Yeah.
He can't. He just can't. Even though he's got a British EU passport, he can't until he does something.
Yes, exactly.
What?
He's got to lodge a huge amount of money in a bank in Hungary, a Hungarian bank, before he can emigrate to live in that country. If he wants to go to Poland, if he wants to go to the Czech Republic, if he wants to go to Slovakia, he has either got to pay for his health care. At the moment, 111s cover some of it, but after 90 days, if he's still here and is not granted a residence card, he becomes an illegal alien and he's chucked out of the country.
Exactly, but that isn't the point of what we're saying. What we're saying is that people fear, and this is the fear that people have, and you and I agree 100% that it's a ludicrous fear. And that is the fact that what's going to happen, the instant Brexit happens, that everybody who lives in Slovakia, that's me and you, right? You or I, well, that would just be me. And all the other people who live in Spain and all the people who live in Italy will all be kicked out and they'll all have to go back to Britain. Then Britain will kick everybody out. And the naivety of the British public is that. That is what they fear. They think that the whole world's going to collapse. There was a scare story today about the fact, yesterday, about the fact that we're going to have to pay extra money to actually go on holiday in
Somebody turn their phone off.
Is that naughty, Andrea?
Andrea's not naughty. She's probably calling the police to get you arrested.
She's terrible. She's a terrible person.
Donald, do you see what you've done, Donald? Do you see what you've done?
What?
Yeah.
What's he done?
Yeah.
Donald inflamed
like
your
a little pond, but we're a big sea.
You see, Donald, he still hasn't got the point, has he? From his last answer, he hasn't got the point.
But anyway, there's only like 20 minutes to go. We need to get on with the rest of
We better get on with it. Donald's laughing at us, Rach.
Of course he is. It's ludicrous.
Nice one, Donald. Prince Charles won't meddle when he becomes king. Yes, of course he will. Don't give me that.
No. Hang on a minute.
Charles now.
I'm going to defend Prince Charles because he was very clear. I watched his interview on television this morning, and before my Facebook rant, I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about how he understands that when he is the sovereign, he has to. It's a completely different role. It's a completely different situation that he's going to be in, and he knows how to behave as a sovereign. He's watched his mother do it for his whole life.
Yeah.
So when he's the Prince of Wales, he can do this or that activity, but when he's sovereign, he can't and he won't.
But he will.
He won't.
He will.
He won't.
He will.
He will not.
I'm auditioning for pantomime, for goodn's sake.
No, you did. Well, look out. He's behind you.
Alive.
But he will.
He won't.
May I share my logic?
No, because there is none. He won't. No, he won't. He won't do it. He won't.
Well, when the Prime Minister, whoever that happens to be, goes to Buckingham Palace for his weekly audience with the King will suggest things.
Yeah, in the confines of that meeting, what he's saying is that he won't be out and running around doing what he usually does.
But he will still have a lovely amount of influence, which in certain parts of Prince Charles is critically important. Because
which parts of Prince Charles are critically important to you?
His logic about using solid fuels. His logic about using fossil fuels.
Of course, and he will have those meetings, but he won't be going out in public and doing what he does now because it's considered to be too controversial / political.
Mm-hmm.
He won't do it. He will keep to the role of the sovereign, and he will absolutely he won't meddle. He'll do what he's supposed to do. What he says and does in meetings with prime ministers, etc., is between them and in that meeting. He's not going to do it in public.
No, that's right. And he doesn't wear his medals anyway, does he?
That's right.
No, I'm trying to think. I'm sure I have seen his medals.
Yeah, you just tried to be controversial. You can't think of anything.
No. You're trying to be contrary. You're just disagreeable today.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not.
You are. Donald's got you all rolled up.
Donald, you've wound me up. Do you know, he's really clever. He wound my key up without even touching me. Donald says, hang on a minute.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes. I think he's mates with Steve Mann,
Oh, God.
And I think he's
well, exactly. That's cartoon characters, aren't they? Donald Duck and Mr. Man.
Well,
right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Donald says, "Hang on." Donald
you
wouldn't because he was a counsellor and all that, so he wouldn't talk. He would talk proper, not like what I does. He goes, "Hang on a minute. I think the British people will skip Prince Charles and go straight to King William."
They can't.
Well, actually, people have said that.
They can't. It's succession. They can't.
Well, they could.
They can't, and they won't.
People's choice.
No, it wouldn't be a people's
No,
choice.
it's
It'd be down to Charles to make that decision.
But I think Charles wants to do it. I mean, it keeps you away from.
He would have to abdicate, and he won't do it.
No, I don't think he would. Well, if you think about it, as just as a forget the role, but just think as a human being. You've been brought up for he's 70 years old. You've been brought up for 70 years to do one job in your life, which is to be the head of the monarchy. And
we all get disappointed. We all get disappointed.
I know we do, but
stop! It's succession. That won't happen.
Yeah, and logic says, how could you sort of like disappear off and go, that's all right, I'll let my son do it. It would be horrific.
Because it's want. He won't do it. He won't do it. What everybody's failing to understand here is that this is something, as Eric said, it's something that they were born into, and they know their duty. They're all about duty.
Yeah.
And they're not going to say, "Oh, I don't feel like it. I think he can do it." You know, that's not how it's going to work. He'll be the sovereign, and then when he feels the need to die, he will die, and then William will be king. It's succession, you know, and it's not voted on by the public. This isn't X Factor, dude.
No, and the one thing you're absolutely right about, Rach, is the way in which he carries out the duties in the manner in which he was brought up to do them. The level of respect.
For being.
Yeah.
Their sole purpose for being.
Yeah. But his level
it's their raison d'etre.
Yes. Now, wouldn't it be lovely if a lot of that was to pass down to other people? You wouldn't have all the blasted crimes in London.
Let's just say, here for Charles.
Right, good old Charles. There should be a red meat on tax. Don't be stupid.
No, there shouldn't be a red meat on tax. There should be a tax on red meat. Yeah. I don't even have a list and I can read it better.
Yeah, what's going on there?
I have no idea. It's I got it. It's some numpties at the University of Oxford said that government should consider imposing a hike on red meat.
Yeah, because it makes you poorly. You should be a vegetarian like me.
He enjoys fish and steak and chicken and sausages and bacon and... You dip bacon in your beer if you're allowed to.
He has.
It's very nice sucking it off after.
Stop it! Stop it!
Didn't say that. You said that.
Oh, he's such a naughty boy.
You made that rude.
No, actually,
he did.
I think they should tax vegetarians.
Why?
Because they're stealing the food from the red meat that goes in my tummy.
If a vegetarian has a child, is it a vegetable?
Yes. Oh, I can't believe that they'd even suggest it. Now they're suggesting, get this, boys and girls, I know what it is. It's because of the ultimate. They reckon that carbon emissions associated with production means that it's enhancing the problem of climate change.
That's exactly what
those cows expelling methane. Big deal.
Yeah.
Poor moo cows.
Poor moo cows. Poor moo cows. We don't really care. Hi to Marcus and Sarah. Where have you been, Sarah? Oh, Sarah's been teaching. Google is rewriting its policy on workplace sexual harassment following a staff walkout over perceived failings to tackle abuses. OK, Google, what about rewriting the rulebook on promoting fake news?
Absolutely.
Well, I think the physical and mental well-being of their staff is kind of, you know, that feeds into how they operate as an organisation. So let's start with that, shall we?
I think that's right. The voice.
Right, Rach. I'm sorry, Rach. Yes, Rach, I'm really sorry. Rach, I'm really sorry. Rach, I'm really sorry. Rach, I'm sorry.
I'm out of control, and I'm going to take all the sugar away from you. And you're going to bed.
All right, we're out of control. We've been naughty.
Oh, I know.
We've been terrible.
I shall sit in the chair with my dunce's hat on. I love this story. I just love this story for the beauty of it. More than 7,000 people in the UK still have black and white television sets.
Everything old is new again, Uncle Eric. And you know what? Black and white gives you... People might be ODing on nostalgia. Who knows?
Yeah, but it does make a bit of a mockery of these 4G Ultra HD televisions.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's a protest.
7,000 people are protesting about them.
You ever watch old black and white films from the 50s? They're brilliant.
I love them.
They're horrible.
No, why are they horrible?
Well, okay, you've got this couple, right? And we'll call them Lee and Rach for the moment, because they're both actors, you understand, not together in the biblical sense. So they're both acting beautifully, and they are now, careful, do not laugh, they are now on their knees, crawling across hot sand. And they're climbing this little hill. and all of a sudden, the London Philharmonic Orchestra starts playing because they see a tree.
Yeah.
You're never alone with a chart. Quite. God, cock that up.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you want to do take two?
No, because it wasn't funny anyway.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm just.
He's just talking rubbish.
I like watching a black and white film. It's beautiful, but I don't. You know what? When the flash new tellies came out, you know, remember the colour tellies with the gigantic back on them, like they were just huge.
I know.
And you couldn't fit them in the corner of your house because they took up too much room. My dad has had one of those for years, and he refuses to get rid of it because he doesn't need another telly. This one's fine. So I think that's probably what's going on with the black and white telly.
See, it is. You see, really, if you think, I've got nothing to say on it. Really,
I'll give you the top five in reverse order. 165 sets are in County Antrim, which is in Northern Ireland. West Yorkshire, up north, the foreigners. They've got 281 of them.
Big house.
281 of them. Then you get to where the Mancunians are. They've got 390. The West
nicked them.
Yeah. Nicked them from London. The West Midlands has got 431, and the capital city's got 1,748.
My question about this is a bit. I mean, I don't even know how they would work because we don't, like in Australia, we don't have analogue television anymore.
Excuse me, can I just interrupt? Breaking news. The glorious Andrea, who's sitting here in tears at the moment with laughter, has actually just revealed that her auntie actually does still have a black and white set that she watches every night.
Okay, right.
No. You can plug a digital box in the back, Rach.
It's Andrew's auntie.
An adapter, and it will work, but it only comes out as black and white pictures. And because of that, you pay a reduced licence fee for the television.
That's why, because her auntie's really mean.
Is that what it is?
No, she just said she don't watch telly. It just stands there in the corner.
Well, apparently
I was going to say, is it an ornament? Like, is it another
could well be.
Is it a...
Yeah, historian Jeffrey Boronsky said there are hundreds of collectors, known as anoraks, like myself, who have many black and white TVs. Who wants all this newfangled 4G Ultra HD satellite dishes or a screen that's bigger than your room when you can have glorious black and white TV? Me.
And me.
Actually, this is where I've got him here. 30 years ago, you could still buy black and white TVs, many small portables, for as little as £50. That was a long time ago. And it's interesting to know that some of those people still have them. And that's because you can still buy portable black and white TVs to this day.
And that's because the old stuff still works. Buy a modern telly, might be all singing and all dancing, you see everything in all the colours of the rainbow. Within a week, it's broken, you have to take it back. Black and white.
That's a manufacturer's, man. White. They built things to last back then because they didn't want it to be so consumable. Now it's all about making money, so they break down.
Rach, all you got to do is one thing.
What?
Chuck it out the window at the neighbour.
No, you don't need to be the Who or Rock Rebels. All you've got to do... And this is living proof. He himself said that installations tellies only last a week, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That was a bit of a sweeping statement.
Right. But how many weeks ago did Mr. Banks install my 5G 60-inch across television set?
Well, it was a while because he was wearing shorts.
That's true. So all that anybody in the world's got to do is get Mr. Banks to put the telly in. It will last for weeks.
Has it lasted weeks then?
Yes, and I agree with you, Dave. I so agree with Dave on this. Snooker is rubbish in black and white.
Excuse me, it's rubbish in any language. It's the most boring thing I've ever witnessed.
Brilliant. Rachel.
It's total and utter garbage.
Naughty, terrible person.
Was that Dave Rhodes? I'm so disappointed.
Are you?
Dave, if it's a black ball game, black and white's all you need.
That's it. It's boring in colour anyway. Who cares?
It's not.
Like darts.
It's not.
I used to drink with Alex Hurricane Higgins.
My dad was obsessed with Eddie Charlton.
Oh, look, there's a Robin Redbreast sitting on the wall.
Eddie Charlton was a really good player.
My dad was obsessed with the man, and I don't know why. It was just, God, it was like watching grass grow. It was like watching soccer.
Oh, my God, it looks like Donald's now agreeing with Lee. We live in a throwaway society. Anyway, so
That's
nothing
what I said.
is built to last anymore. Well, yes, she did, Donald. She did. She said that.
Nigel, being petulant like him now. I said that as well.
Well, I figured I might as well join in with you two guys, honestly.
Wonderful. 5G, ha. RACH.
What?
It's a divorce on the horizon.
With me and who?
RACH.
What?
RACH, it's Dave Rhodes.
Dave Rhodes is not going to talk to me ever again because I said snooker's boring. Do you know what, Dave? It'll be like every other time we've disagreed. Tomorrow you'll forgive me and think I'm fabulous, and that's true.
I'd love it. Hi from Gaby and me. That's from Miranda in the Netherlands.
Excuse me?
What?
Uncle Lee's trying to talk to you.
On the wall in Brighouse. Oh, it's flown away now.
There's a Robin Redbreast on the wall in Brighouse.
No, somebody shot it. It's dead.
I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have slept if I'd have known that. The idiots at 3 have said 5G will let users ditch fixed line home broadband. No, it won't. End of debate. No, it won't.
Okay.
That's the end of that. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's move on to the next one. We're running out of time.
With plenty of zig. The Spice Girls have appeared together for a foursome. Who writes these headlines? For the first time since announcing news of their long-awaited comeback. But, of course, Posh Spice isn't going to be there because she's too busy.
Well, she's busy being, sour-faced and fantastic in fashion. But you know what? I don't know. They're not touring anywhere but the UK, thank goodness. But, I mean, you know what? If these girls want to get together and have a sing, more power to them. Good on them.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. By the way, Rach, the divorce papers have started. Dave's claiming he has custody of the cat.
Oh, that's all right, because I'll have Gordy.
Okay, you got Gordy, that's all right. Elton John has announced...
I'll keep Robbie.
Elton John has announced UK dates for his farewell Yellow Brick Road tour.
I love him.
You like him?
I love him. I think he's. I really do.
The trouble is, I'm not a fan, but as a person, he's really lovely.
Really wonderful. He's done some magnificent philanthropic work in his life, and he's also. I like some of it. I don't like all of his songs, but there's some that are really cool, but I think he's just a great, awesome dude. Like he's just a cool guy.
Yeah, he's so. I don't want to use the word underwhelming because that's not quite right. But he's not at all precocious. He's not at all arrogant. All of those negative words. He's the complete opposite.
Yeah,
and he's talented. And a
very talented.
Unlike that singing monkey, Phil Collins.
He's a genius.
Unlike the
Phil Collins is a genius.
Unlike Mr. Pursley.
Mr. Pursley, yeah, I like that. That's good. Mr. Pursley. That's when you were...
Oh, you weren't here.
No, you weren't here. Yeah, it's the same as Dob Billen. There's the ideal pair, Rach. Dob Billen and Pursley.
Pursley and Dob Billen.
Fake news, you terrible person.
They should get together with the Spice Girls.
Right, Rach, what are you up to this week?
I actually have to. I do have to work tomorrow. They called me into work tomorrow, but that's all right because it's not till 10 o'clock in the morning. But do I have time to tell you my Facebook rant today?
If you're quick, yes.
Very quick. Robbie and I were enjoying our morning coffee this morning on the balcony, as we do. It was about 6-ish, I think, in the morning, and there was a big Powerball lottery thing last night, and we didn't win $60 million, but we were chatting about what we'd do if we did, and I said something hilarious as usual. And Robbie laughed his laugh. Now, you've both heard his laugh. Mm-hmm. It is loud and joyous. It's really joyous. It comes from a place deep inside of him. Next thing we know, there's a guy standing at the bottom of our balcony on the street.
15 seconds.
Telling us to shut up. because we were waking up him and his wife. And it just went on and on and on. And then there was Robbie got sort of, Robbie's a passive guy.
Yes.
But he just told the guy in no uncertain terms to be gone. And that's all I can say on the radio. And he said, come down here and say that. And me, like a wild woman, tried to climb over the balcony.
And with that, boys and girls, we have to say goodbye. I've got to fade the pair of them out, and Lee can't say goodbye to you either. It's Steve Bishop up next, here on Radio Tatras International.
RTI.